the web address. The web address is posted in the first section of the Instagram, and I'll post it here on the YouTube when I'm done. So you'll get that. Everyone who's been asking for these shirts. If you want those shirts, the link to actually get those is being done by a third-party company. I am not involved. I just gave clearance. And of course, as you know before, people are asking for those shirts. I'll provide the link. You can go and get yours. Start representing NFAC. You should see the look on people's faces when they see the NFAC shirts, because they know exactly what it represents. But we're still right here, back in one accord. We have to get on one accord. How do we get on one accord? Well, I've been talking to you about it all morning. But now I got to go somewhere else on one accord, because it appears to me, and it should appear to all of you, that a lot of y'all don't think that this matters to you one way or the other. If you're still joining me on Instagram, please slide on over to YouTube. Grab the YouTube and jump on in there. You see, it is written in the great book of the Firehawks that the earth was destroyed twice, once altogether by fire and once partially by water. And the destruction by water was the lesser destruction that came out of this matter. Now listen what I just said. They're saying that the world has been destroyed twice, even though slave masters teach you once. And that when they destroyed the earth by water, it was the lesser, which means they don't burnt shit up before and they burnt it up again. Then they decided to do it with water. But it is also written that he said, I'm not going to do that to you. Next time it's going to be by fire. And a lot of y'all don't understand that the reason they're spraying the skies all the time, the reason you don't see the sun like you used to, the reason that the earth is shaking in places it's never shaking, the reason that all these things are going on, they're like birth pains. They're like birth pains. If y'all don't mind, I would like to teach a little bit from the ancient books about the truth, about what it was like. And the funny thing about it, I've done this before, but I have to keep illustrating. We cannot get on one accord until we understand where we're at. So let me try it again. It says, the peoples of those times spurned all spiritual things, and men lived only for the pleasure, caring little for the good of mankind or the future of the people. Tell me if this is not today. Lewdness and lies were upon the tongues of all men, and brothers could not deal justly with their brother. The princesses and the governors were corrupt, and proper tribute was not paid, and the statutes were held up as a scam. The lives of men were ruled by their desires, and they spent their days in gluttony, drunkenness, fornication, dancing, and singing to instruments and music. The land was unattended, for the men dissipated their strength in the unproductive lusts and pleasures. Women lacked shame. Women had no shame, for many would cast their glances after one man. Men fought amongst themselves and even killed one another because of their lust for worthless women, while the good women were not even looked after. And they were even rejected. For men declined the effort of being worthy of them in the eyes of their father. I've taught this once before. All the good women out there that are wondering why you can't get a good man. I'm not talking about the women who think they're a good woman. I'm talking about the actual good women are wondering why you can't get a good man, because it says right here in the last days that the good men, the ones that could be the good men, they won't be good men because they don't want to do the work that it would take to rise up to the level to be worthy of you good women taking them in front of your father. You see, back in the day, couldn't have a woman unless you went to see Pops. And you pull in, Pops be like, who are you, where you came from, who your peoples is, what you be about, what you gonna do with my daughter. That's how it used to be. They don't do that no more. Now what we find out is that, according to what's written here, don't get mad at me. So y'all want to shoot the messenger, but you don't want to hear the message. And you think if you silence the messenger, the message goes away. But the word will be here long after I'm gone. And somebody else gonna say it to you until such a time you have to pay the price. So what it's saying right here, it says that wives were unhonored and only the women of pleasure commanded the attention of men. So all you bros out here that's running around talking about, I'm looking for a good woman, don't think that the woman who's all in your face with the hair, the eyes, the eyelashes, the lipstick, the glued on wig, with the fake booty and the pumped up heels, that you seem to just act like she's the perfect woman for me. No, she's not. That is a disguise, and you're looking at a mannequin walking around that has something behind it that is not listed here in the scriptures. You're doing exactly what it says. But the good sister, the sister that ain't all out there like that, she's not all with all the accoutrements and so forth. I'm not saying, sisters, that there's anything wrong with enhancing your beauty, but if all you have is that, then you are just a front. And it says right here that men will quickly go for the front rather than trying to rise up to the standards of the good woman who is there to, like taught you before, to be the goddess of a castle and not be the pleasure of men. There is a difference. Same thing with the brothers. There are some brothers out here who understand that. They putting in the rich time, they putting in the work so that they can be presentable to the sister's people. So when she say, this is the king I've chosen, and that the family will say, we support that, and not have to come back 6, 7 months later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 5 years later, and everybody sitting around talking about, I never liked that motherfucker, no way. Because everything fell apart, because who you truly are always comes out in the wash. It always happens. It goes on further to say, it says that the women were unhonored. That the wives were unhonored, and only the women of pleasure commanded the attention of men. And women were unclean and immodest, and men lay with them shamelessly. This is describing how we are today. It says that old women were more lustful than the young ones. Oh, y'all know what y'all be running around talking about. What is it? Cougars? Y'all cougars now? The old women, instead of becoming dignified queens who are the storehouses of the wisdom of our race, y'all out here chasing after these young boys and whatnot, because all of a sudden y'all done fell off y'all compass too. It says right here in the book, I'm not making this up. Old women more lustful than the young ones, while virgins were seduced and corrupted in their childhood. That's what's happening right now. It says fathers fornicated before their sons and were admired for their prowess. They made no distinction between their sons and other men, between their wives and other women. Deceit and violence were seen in every hand. Can I teach in here? This is the state of how bad things had to be before finally the Creator said, I have had enough of this. We just going to wipe the board. We're going to reset. And we're going to start all over again. And a lot of us, because I told y'all last night, if you want to hide something, put it in a book. Because people don't like to read. But it says right here that this is how it was. Now, what I just read you is applicable to today. But this is not what they're talking about. This is about how it was right before the flood. This is what the world was like before the deluge. This was the world that Noah lived in. This was the world that Enoch lived in. This was the world that the book of Jubilee and Yasher and all these books were. That sounds just like the world we live in today. The only difference, if you look at what was written then, black people, these are black folks. And guess who is showing their ass today? Black folks. Not all black folks, but a certain section of black folks. And if we trace their lineage, we'll find out that because they came through the trauma that has us all messed up, and because they got a little bit of knowledge of how it used to be, they still see themselves responding that same way because that bloodline is still in them. Can I talk to y'all for a second? I am rolling down the side of the mountain. You got to realize that when all of these things started happening, see, they don't teach you this in the church. I'm going to keep going because I'm guaranteed you've never heard it told to you like this before. It says, when the chiefs of the mountain men saw what was happening, they became upset and ordered their men to return. And the chief of the chiefs stood up before the gathered war hand and said, it is our decree that this thing shall not be done. You must not go down from these mountains bringing a sword to these people. Leave them alone as rotted fruit is left out on the tree to wither and die. Leave them to follow their own ways a little longer. In the fullness of time, they will destroy themselves. Let me say that to you again. And this is probably what I just came back to give you this piece, but this is the biggest jewel of all when you're talking about getting on one accord. In order for us all to get on one accord, there must be something that threatens us all. And if the fear of the Most High doesn't seem to threaten us all anymore, because we don't seem to care about that. If the fact that we're headed for our own self-destruction because of our lack of action and being apathetic to efforts to move us forward, if the only thing that people care about is themselves, then we've already lost before we began, because it says right here in the book, and I'll quote it again, when the chiefs of the mountain men saw what was happening, they became upset and ordered their men to return to their flocks and their pastures. The chief of chiefs stood up before the gathered war and set the war band and said, "It is our decree that this thing shall not be done. You must not go down from these mountains and bring a sword to these people. Leave them alone, as rotted fruit is left out to wither and die. Leave them to follow their own ways a little longer, and in the fullness of time, they will destroy themselves." That's why I don't worry about people who try to bring adversity against me, those who lie on me, those who blaspheme, those who distort the truth, those who try to misrepresent the past. I don't give. You wonder why I don't respond, why I don't go sit and talk with them. I don't have to. They will destroy themselves in due time. It was not them who touched your soul. It was not them that inspired the people to finally wake up. It was not them that got suited and booted to confront the enemy. It was not them that has become the target of the concern of the enemy. It is not them. So why do you think it's going to be them that is going to bring things to a peaceful resolution? You have neither been chosen nor empowered to do that. And I am sitting here in my soul, laughing my soul ass off at the ineptness and at the arrogance of you human beings who believe that what I'm saying to you is not the Most High inspired for you. You will destroy yourselves in due time. And oh, what a day that will be when that day comes. They say that when we get to the judgment hall, it's going to be a whole lot of crying and weeping. There ain't going to be no happy day at the judgment hall. Y'all ever heard that song? It's an old song I heard down in Alabama a long time ago. And it was called A Sad Day at the Judgment Hall. This song was so sad that when I heard it on the radio, I had to turn it off. It had me feeling like, oh, it was like when people get to the judgment hall, ain't gonna be no celebrating at the judgment hall. And matter of fact, when we talk about the judgment hall, we get into some situations where people be asking me once before, what goes on in the judgment hall? What are we doing in the judgment hall? I've taught on this before, where we talked about what happens when you get to the judgment hall. One comes. Y'all remember that if you haven't seen that. And remember what it says in the very end. The sinners shall cry aloud, and they shall see the righteous ones being replenished, and they shall go to a place which was prescribed to them concerning the days and the season. And here ends the revelations of the secrets. It all comes out in the end. Those people are going to watch you go off to get what you deserve. Those people are going to sit there. The very same people that you spit on, the same people that you on, the same people that you talked about, the same people you gossiped about, the same people that you wished ill will on, all those people. There's somebody listening to me right now that got somebody hating on them, and they don't even know why. Things are bad enough for you as it is, but they still hating on you. People act like you must know something that they don't like. Your hating makes a difference. Trust me, we all are getting hated on right now by certain groups. We all are getting hated on by the times we live in. Matter of fact, last time I checked, let me ask you this. What is the next significant thing that's coming up in your life that's going to move us down the road as a people? What's going to be the next thing that's going to inspire us to go forward? I keep wondering sometimes what had happened if I had been elected as your president, what type of country we would be living in right now. If I had been elected as your president, I've heard some people say that they're going to write in John Fitzgerald Johnson on this ballot coming up because they don't see anyone else worth throwing their vote behind. But then you've got the people who are on the slave master plantation. Don't do that. You're going to dilute the vote. Let me help y'all out, since a lot of y'all don't know how this works on the other side. On the other side of this is that 49% of people don't vote and consider themselves independents. They don't want to have nothing to do with this. They just survive with whatever come out the other side. The amount of people who do vote, that do play the game, at the end of the day, it's the same group of people. So really, they're just trying to get you to go from one side of the room to the other. But if you could energize the other side to step up, if everyone who voted independently, 51% of the country, then you would overthrow anyone that they could say, well, no. He went, no, that's not the way it works. So there are people who understand that y'all can go into the booth and write in John Fitzgerald and throw the whole election. And then all of a sudden, I have ascended to the presidency. But no, y'all not going to let nobody like me sit up in the White House, because you know for a fact that the moment I got into the White House, even though I would uphold every other law of the Constitution as they exist and all the authorities granted unto me as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, you know for a fact that as soon as I sat in that chair, I would exercise executive authority and start granting black people, just black people, the things that are owed to them. I wouldn't take none from nobody that wasn't already owed to the black people. If black people need reparations, in executive order that we need to have reparations paid out along with a schedule and maintenance payments after they declare themselves to be a country for us. See, we would have to lay out some rules. They're not going to let that happen. So they're going to keep these two options in front of you, because these two options will never give you. As a matter of fact, the two options they're giving you right now have never done anything for you, but y'all going to play the game because you've got this need to be accepted. You don't want to look like you out of sorts. I got people right now who live in houses where there are family members who are trying to talk them out of the Black liberation movement. Oh, that you stupid. You following an idiot. He's going to get you killed. My question is, why the fuck aren't you following me? Because if you got somebody better to follow, I'm all for that. If there's another movement going on right now that's got these people shook up like they shook up, if there's another movement going on right now that got them talking amongst themselves, if there's another movement, you know what? Let me tell y'all something. Let me help y'all out. This week alone, this week, going into next week, you do know that every major news agency, they're not bullshitting this time, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, the BBC, Al Jazeera, Rutley, all of them are in my inbox right now talking about, we would like to have a talk with you. Why do you think they're doing that? You think it's because of all the controversy? No. While you're busy looking at the negative, they're looking at the potential positive that could come out of this, and it would change the paradigm of how we relate on this earth. So we need to go talk to somebody who's talking like this. Come see a man who's speaking like this. And if there's someone else that's been given this assignment, I need him to step up so I can go sit my ass down. I keep telling y'all, this did not start with a bunch of people sitting around the table. This did not start on some back room with a bunch of guys saying this is what we're going to do. This started when I told you it wasn't the fact that they saw the video. It was the fact that I saw the video. That's how this got started. And at that time I said, y'all, what do you want me to do? This is what I want you to do, but you're going to have to do it first just to show me that you got the heart to do it. You're going to have to put yourself on the line first in a way that people have never seen you do before, and then they'll follow you. So what did I do? I picked up my sword and my shield and I went to the battle. And it was the spur that we needed to get started. Now, if there's another person that got that charge, please step forward so I can take my ass back to the house and get back to what I was doing. Y'all don't seem to get this. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm putting my life on the line for this. I'm not some goddamn agent. I'm answering a call that if I didn't answer it, I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't take another story. I couldn't take another we waiting on the grand jury. I couldn't take another what you see on the video is not what really happened. I couldn't take another mother in my inbox saying they killed my child. What can you do for me? I couldn't take no more of that. So I did something by myself, and all of you followed me into this. Now that we're out here, all of a sudden, if you're not happy with what you have, y'all let a bruh know I can fade back to black and you'll never hear from me ever again. And I wish you the best, and I have mercy on your soul, because when he sends someone, remember what it says, my words will never return to me void, ever. And if I send the messenger, if I send a message and you decide to destroy it or refute it, then heaven help you, because I told you. Now let me break down what that means. Most of y'all have never been taught when they say heaven help you. It doesn't mean that may the angels come and help you. It means what I taught you last night. There are 10 levels to heaven. Do you know what goes on in the second level of heaven? Do you know what goes on in the fourth level of heaven? When they say may heaven help you, there are places in heaven where even the angels are being kept until judgment. And if the angels have to be judged, what makes you think that you won't be judged by what you have done here when he attempted to give you the keys to free yourself and you chose to close the gate back and stay inside your cage? You decide to stay in the pan with the frying. You decide to stay there. Okay, no problem. Lock them up and turn up the heat. Because I could always go back to my nice, quiet life, but I was put on this mission to go with or without you. And we're not going to go unless we on one accord. If we don't hurry up and get on one accord, it's going to be a remnant that will make it. September the 5th, Louisville, Kentucky. Another historic day. I can be transparent enough to say on this call, I had my first meeting with the powers to be of Louisville yesterday. You see, a lot of y'all don't understand that you cannot have senseless violence without some form of intelligent intellect. The two have to go together. So if you think that you are in the wild, wild motherfucking West, if all you want is just to have a running shootout with the police and be over in 5 minutes, if all you want to do is tear down with no plan to build up, if all you want to do is express your anger because some shit happened to you, but you have no solution, be my guest. That is not a display of power. That is a display of ignorance and stupidity. And we are never going to get anything that we so-called think that we deserve acting like a bunch of fucking savages. Somebody has got to have a brain in the outfit. So we've had the discussion yesterday with the powers to be to let them know our intentions. And to also let them know, you see, y'all don't really understand how this works. You see, when you do something and it's yours, then they have to protect you. They don't want to. They have to. Otherwise, they break the law. And in this whole game, if y'all remember, the object is not to be the one to break the law. Whoever break the law gonna get it. They gonna get it. So they want to make sure that they don't break the law, because they want to make sure that if we break the law, it's all on us. But that doesn't happen because, see, they've got someone that can step up and sit at the table. And don't get me wrong, if any of you all have the fortitude and the mental latitude to sit and have conversations with politicians, with police officers or law enforcement agencies, federal agencies, if you got the wherewithal to sit and negotiate things for your people, the same way Martin Luther King had to sit with the president to get the civil rights bill, the same way even Malcolm X had to have some discussion with some of the police agencies and some of the agencies in Harlem that they had to go and talk into court. You have to have a mouthpiece. You can't have somebody up there who can't formulate a sentence talking about, we just trying to get straight. Well, sir, can you please elaborate on straight? We know who want ours. You, sir, can you be a little more specific? 444, I see you. Can you, you can't even form a sentence. How are you going to articulate the needs of a people How are you going to negotiate the terms of a surrender that they're going to have to give to you so that it's acceptable? How are you going to even initiate the discussion for reparations when you can't spell reparations? How are you going to write a document for the liberation of your people when you can't even write? But as I said before, y'all didn't ask for me. I didn't ask for this. But here we are. And I'm very, 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 very happy to say, if y'all don't want me, that's fine. I hope y'all got somebody else. Just let a brother know so I can book my ticket and fly myself to some of the kingdoms that are begging me to be there while I'm sitting in the house trying to have this relationship with this unfaithful, fickle, scared, petrified, spineless person in the relationship that I'm in. You know how they say the grass isn't greener on the other side? You're right. It's not. The freedom is. One accord. One accord. I want to send a massive salute to the new Black Panther Party. I want to send a massive salute to the Huey Newton Gun Club. I want to send a massive salute to the Dark Riders. I want to send a massive salute to the Justice League. I want to send a massive salute to the Fred Hampton Gun Club. I want to send a massive salute to the African American Gun Club. I want to send a massive salute. If I missed you, then it's because I don't. I want to send a massive, sleep is for the rich. I want to send a massive salute to all these different entities around the United States that are doing their own part as far as getting folks armed and educated and understanding. I want to send a massive salute because all of you all are part of the Black coalition that has to stand together to speak to power. I send a massive salute to all of y'all. September the 5th in Louisville, in front of the world famous Kentucky Derby. If we don't get what we've asked for, well, you need to go back and watch a few of my past videos. You'll find out where we're at, because as I've told you once before, we have to be sure that we're getting what we asked for. And if we don't, you got to feel us a little bit. Not some of us, all of us, every last one of us. So I salute all of those people who are in those organizations. I have nothing but love for you. And I would hope that you too can get on one accord, that we all can get on one accord, because the only thing that it appears that we're good at is fighting each other. That's it. We really don't have a whole lot of other victories for other folks. So I guess we need to step up in that respect. I'm not sure. But I do know one thing, and I'll say it one more time. My mama used to tell me a long time ago, she used to say, Mama may have and Papa may have, but God bless the child that has his own. And we don't have our own right now. So they mamas got and they papas got, but we don't have our own. So think about what I've told you this morning on the Morning Mental. I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. I do believe that we are doing facts over feelings tonight. I'm not sure. It is Friday. We'll find out. Okay. Y'all let me know. We got some other things, some other opportunities in the background. But this black man has said what he has to say. And I'm going to leave this for you to think. You don't have to agree. It's just for you to think. But if it affects you, then what you should be doing is thinking just like I'm thinking. At what point, what is it going to take to get all of us on one accord? As a matter of fact, you have to ask yourself, what is it going to take to get the human race on one accord? Because once we all pull together, we can change the face of this country and this world forever. Join me tonight, Facts Over Feelings, on YouTube and Instagram. Please have a blessed day. Those members of the NFAC who are looking for those emails, some folks have started receiving them. Just be patient. They're coming to you. We've got 2 weeks. We got plenty enough time, and we're doing this a little different. I want to also send a massive shout out to the new chapter that has stood up in Louisville. It was good talking to you folks. A fun group. And you're in the center of this. You're right there in the middle of the fire for Bree. And so you all know what we have to do. Everyone else, I bid you a shalom, and I hope that you have a blessed and powerful day. If you still have information, you have questions about information, please send your emails to info@blacknfac.com, and someone will try to answer you in expeditiously a fashion as possible. One last thing. Somebody told me once, they said, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it, and then you won't be able to handle it. What is it that you wished for? What is it that you have? And what is it that you can't handle? I'll talk to you later. Remember, that's what Mama used to tell me? That's what Mama told me, right? She said those things. I'm out. Y'all have a good one.